Good morning.
How are you all doing? Any questions? Any concerns? Any things that come up? Both, of course, material related and canvas related and assignment related, or how is things going with that stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm good too. Yeah.
Okay. Not too hard, so that's good. Yeah, I started looking through some of the palettes. I'm a little slow with a little overwhelmed, like most of you too, of course, probably with the grading. So I should get most of that done today after the meeting here, but it looks good so far, what everybody's doing, so that's great. There we go. We'll give a few minutes before we start officially. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
So let me just give it a couple minutes and then we'll get moving. No questions at all? That's boring. Good morning. How is it going?
Yeah, there's a meeting.
Hello. Good morning. All right. Well, we have a crowd here, so let's just get started. So officially, good morning, everyone. I want to make sure everybody can check in if you have questions, if you have concerns, how things are going after this first week. If you're not sure about something, if it's overwhelming, if it's underwhelming, just speak your mind. These are good meetings for doing so. So don't hesitate at all. Also, the rule of the game is, as I go through the material, I work through it, and I just want you to interrupt me. If you have questions, don't worry about putting up a hand and waiting for me. That way I can focus on the material and don't have to always look if their hands up or not. And so this is sort of the reverse from the classroom. In this forum, I just want you to interrupt me. I'm sorry I haven't graded everything. I'm working on it still, but it should be all done later today. It looks like well, let me share my screen with me. You here. It's always so weird at the beginning of the semester. I have to get used to talking into the computer and the whole class on the other side. All right, so the first week we did some material, introduced everything, and then we had a whole bunch of assignments. They looked good, and it seems like you guys all understood what I wanted, at least I assume so, unless you tell me differently, and I'm still going through it. So hang with me on that front. Also this one, I've graded a few of those, so that looks good. And then the health kit thing, I was working it. Maybe some of you guys noticed that I was working it while this week went on, because I wanted to take it away from having you guys have to go to a PDF and just put everything in here. Yeah, I don't know about that video. Maybe I should take that out. So if you have any feedback on this health kit page, please, and how it's structured, or if you have any questions, if you don't feel like it works right, or you don't understand something, please give me feedback and sort of be an editing voice as well. because I'm just creating it. I'm telling you, it takes me forever to make these assignments. It's so much brain power. My oxygen is all exhausted afterwards for a while. So please, feel free to speak up if there's things that you think could be done better, especially for this exercise, but of course for the whole course as well. But what I sent out is a Google form on the different health challenges I want you to look at, and I want you to choose one. And what I forgot to do is put down that you have to indicate who it is. So I have no idea who sends in which answer. So what I want you to do on that is, and I'm going to send texts out to people who haven't, after I grade everything that I've seen, and then without the challenge, I'll send some texts, and if we can decide by tonight, that would be great. And then you guys start doing that. I started doing that this morning, and keep throughout the 3 weeks myself. I'll do all of those things. Let's do one of those things, or more than one, but I'll put you in one main group that you want to be in, and then I make a text group of 6 to 8 students per group, and we just hold each other accountable by saying when we've done the task, completed the task, the walking, the exercise, dancing, tennis, whatever you do as a sort of a cardiovascular thing, or the water drinking. When you finish it, you complete it, you send your group a text and say, I finished it. And then you indicate how it made you feel. Just a brief, wow, made me feel like I peed all day, or made me feel like great. Instead of snacking, I was drinking water. That sounded good. Stuff like that. But that's what we're going to do as a group exercise. It also gives us a format where we can just talk to each other a little bit. And it's not just, 50 students and nobody knows each other, or a few do, but not too many. And we do have a group project later on in the semester, but until we get into the classroom, we don't really see each other too much face to face. So that's that.
Dr. M, can I ask a question about how you do the text groups? Like how you've been texting us currently?
I usually just do them on the regular text apps.
Okay, only because I didn't know if you had them as groups that you're using over and over again, because like I'm trying to save it so that I don't lose your messages.
Well, yeah.
Are you changing who you're texting at any given time?
Sometimes, yeah, because especially in the beginning, as people add and drop, I take those people out of the text groups. I do it through an Excel spreadsheet, and then I copy paste it, because otherwise it's too complicated for me. After we sort of start doing the groups, the exercise and sort of groups like that, it should be fairly stable. The texting, the people that get the same text. But at the beginning, maybe you want to screenshot it or something. I'm not sure if that
makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just because it's a little dynamic, and anyway, and maybe once we get into the text groups, I set them up in the background in the texting app. But for the general things, I just try to make groups that I have, 4 groups that I send texts out, and not 10 of them. That is that communication format okay for you guys? Sending texts out. Who talk to you guys? Anybody?
I tried texting you because I had a hard time getting into the Zoom, not the Zoom, like the Canvas, and I hadn't even got started on any of my assignments because help desk had to help me. And when I tried to go back to look at the Zoom, it was like buffering and skipping a lot, so I couldn't understand a lot of what was going on. So I tried texting you. So I guess you just let you know that I don't really know what's going on and stuff.
Are you in it now?
Yeah, now I'm in it. I got access to it like yesterday,
Okay.
and I don't really know where to go to do the assignments and stuff. So I hadn't even got started yet.
Okay. Did you watch? That's okay. Well, not that far gone yet. Did you watch? Last
The
week's
Zoom.
Zoom? The last week
Yeah,
Zoom?
I was in the middle of watching it, but it did a lot of skipping and buffering, so I couldn't understand a lot, and it kept
Okay.
like running in and out.
Would it be easier to see it on YouTube for your system? Probably, right?
Yeah, I think when I went to look at it, it was like through YouTube, but it looked like it just kept buffering and it kept skipping in and out. Like
Well,
one
no,
minute
if you look at it, if you look at it in Canvas, sorry, if you look at it in Canvas, the I have to feed it into Canvas, and it might take more space on your end. I'm not sure. So what I can do is I can text it to you as a YouTube link. Would that help on your phone? Would that help? Maybe.
Yeah, I text you from my iPhone because the other number when you do the group text, this phone isn't really all that good. So I
Okay,
think
so
I
you have a new.
text,
Okay, I'll add that new number then to you as your regular number. Is that better for you?
yeah, because the 415 number isn't like all that good. It was
Okay.
just a temporary phone I was using.
Okay. No, that's all right. That's all right. And then I'll send you that as a YouTube link, and maybe then you can watch it there. And if you still have issues with it, reach out and we'll do a Zoom meeting together, one-on-one. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else in terms of, do you guys okay with me texting you as a communication, as a main communication tool? Is that all right with you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Because it makes
Yes,
it
that's
easy.
all right.
Yeah, okay, then that's good because it makes it
Yes,
easy.
that's fine.
Okay, good.
Oh, but I also noticed you just like use a different group, like you make a new different group every single time. Is there like a way that we can just keep like the same, because you create a different group chat every single, like, I don't know, every single morning we have class again. And
Right.
so it's just a new group chat. Would be able to like name like the most recent one so we can keep using that one? So every one of your texts comes in through that one instead of creating a new one.
Yeah, I think that's coming up a couple times now. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make groups in the texting app
Yeah.
in the background. But I will have different group for the health challenge than the general stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
like a different group for like the health challenges, and then just like a main one for everyone in the class to get like notifications on the class. And then yeah.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
try to also send it through notifications on Canvas. I just
Mhm.
like this morning Zoom announcement, I forgot to do that.
Yeah.
But I try to also parallel all my messages onto the Canvas an announcement thing as well. But no, if I do that, because the first few weeks is just a little dynamic because people add and drop, and then it gets more
Yeah,
simple.
that makes
But
sense.
if I make it as groups in the texting app, which I can do, then I think you have a stable group where it comes from, even if I add or drop numbers in that individual group.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a little more sophisticated on that front. Okay, cool, good.
Okay.
Good. And yeah, because that way we don't have to use Pronto is a good app and I like it a lot, but it takes time for people to get onto it and get used to it. And we kind of lose weeks before, and all of a sudden somebody pops out in the back end of the semester. It's like, I never knew about this Pronto thing. And I'm like, oh my God, why, that way we don't use too many things and I can also assume. And email is okay with me if you use the Canvas email. It's just harder for me to get back to you guys. It gets easier as the weeks go on because the first couple are just heavy to get everything going. I'm sure the old wheels need to be turning in the head again since the fall semester started. So that's for me too. All right, good. So then this week, if there's nothing else on this first week, the Padlets. For me, there's something with the Padlets. Could you make Sure, come on. And of course, if I'm with Canvas, it slows everything down. I have to be very careful how many windows I open at the same time. I should drop this. Hold on real quick. They say the Chrome browser uses a lot of energy, so we'll see. So on the tab Padlet, what I like you to do, see here, I'm logged in as my name. You can log in to Padlet with your Merit login name. And you do that by going here into the opening a new window. And then look at how pretty that is. And then it comes there, and then up here on that where mine is this kind of reddish thing, you click on that and you show your user, and you can log in there with you should be able to log in with your married situation. Yeah, see, Erica was able to do that here. Because what happens then we see all of those with names. Dominic was able to do that too. And then we can talk, and I still have to go through all of that. Look at that. Mostly I give it a heart if I read it, and because I don't answer all of them, but I try to answer a bunch of them, especially if there's questions. It's a good place to ask questions, and it's a good place to sort of check in how the class is going. Oh, look, most of you said it in here. I'm sorry, I didn't even see it yet. So that's great. At the end, that's actually great. If you indicate your name at the end, in the beginning, or you sign in, that's perfect. If you don't have any of them, then I have a problem in figuring out whom to give points to and whom not. But this is a good place at the end of the week just to sort of chill back. You don't really have to have an agenda too much, to sort of reflect back on the class briefly, what went on that week for you and what was a good win, and or were some questions open, and then we can discuss those open questions if we want to. And
may I ask one more question about just the homework or the assignment timelines? So how do you do your week? Is it from like Sunday at 12 to Saturday at 11:59? Because I noticed some assignments are due on Friday and some are due, sorry, I got my kid here.
That's
some
okay.
Are due on
That's
Sunday.
it's very refreshing. I have a little, kid around.
He's very interested.
That's good. Keep him, come and have him come to and play with, also little anatomy stuff. My timeline is usually Sunday night. So generally, everything is Sunday night. So when we look at the regular week, if we look at week 2, it becomes more of a sort of a regular week. We have the Zoom thing where I laid a video behind that we're talking about right now. And then we have the objectives where we look at what we're learning today up here, and then or what we can do after we finish learning this or after we're exposed to it. And then we have some assignments. Unfortunately, I'm not fully up to date with editing some. Some of those are not there anymore for your particular class, or they're later on. I changed them a little bit, but for the most part, they're all in here.
So I guess that's where I'm a little confused, is some of it says Friday, Sunday.
Oh yeah, let me go back to that.
That would be great.
Yes. So, oh yeah. So the thing is, anything that's a discussion, I do Friday, Sunday. And so by Friday, I would like the first initial poster.
Okay.
And then gives everybody some time to, read some other people's posts and respond back to it by Sunday.
Okay. It might be worth it to just put discussions, like initial discussions, like somewhere, just that it's due Friday and responses due by Sunday. Just spell that out a little bit more clearly.
I found that, make that a little more clear. Would you think here too, or in here, or I can put it here actually too, and then in the page itself. It's so much spelled out in the page itself. Let's see. So that's the regular pattern. And then for the test, I give you initial post by Friday. So that's there, but everything else is. Yeah, I changed it this week to the due date by Friday. This semester, last semester was still by Sunday. Maybe I'll change it back. But the problem then is I don't have people do the first post by Friday. Does that make sense? I mean, if you know, you guys can help me, what's better for you guys, because we can also have, if it gets too much work, we can have the initial post by Sunday, and everybody sees Sunday work, and then you have this following week to respond back to get the full point value. That's fine with me too. So if you want to reflect on that a little bit, that would be really great for me too, to smooth that process out. You know, to make, because you guys are on the learning side. So
because that's part of what's hard is like I'm taking care of her 24/7. So the weekends are when I'm spending a lot of time doing this. And it's
yeah, then let's do that. Let's do that. So why don't everything is so I'm going to change it. So if we go, let's talk about the chemistry. Let's talk about this week, and then I'll just change it right away as we do that. Okay. So as we get through this week, looking at the assignments, no, that's a very good point. I'm really glad you're bringing that up, because it's really, for me, it's really more like being the coach in these things, you know what I'm saying? And I think there's a lot of you guys that probably do most of the work at some point or another during the week, but that might be the weekend. So the discussions will be Sunday and then following Sunday at this, you know, basically. But I don't even have to indicate that, because you don't get the full point value unless you respond back to someone. I'll do that in the background. And so to be very clear, every assignment that I do and you don't get the full point value, like for example, in the health kit, everybody got 10 points, not 20 points. And some of you were like, oh my Lord, why do I not get the full point value? It's because that assignment I'm gonna grade when we go through the groups and we respond and we sort of do the exercise, the health challenge. And then at the end of the 3 weeks, I'm going to give you the other 10 points. Now, of course, if you never check in with the group, we're not going to give you the points. But that, you know, that's where we have that interaction happening a little bit. Now, if you miss a day or two, then I'm not going to worry about it. But I just want to make sure everybody's doing it. But in a discussion, we're going to change this to the Sunday is the first initial post to, and then through the following week, you can respond to people through the following Sunday, especially if you study some weekends, you then have the next weekend where you can finish up that assignment and get all the points that you didn't get in the first place because you didn't necessarily were able to respond back to somebody or so forth. So every discussion has a couple elements. Well, every assignment has a couple elements to it. So if we actually, let's just go to the first discussion here, the explanation through images. If you look up here, the 3 dots here, if you press here, it shows a rubric. So whenever you show a rubric, every assignment has a rubric. It spells out what gives you points. Now, this is a pretty complicated rubric here because this is a discussion, but in this assignment, what I want you to do is I want you to look for images online that help you explain what you're trying to learn with the material. And then when you find an image, I want you to copy and paste that image into the discussion forum and then describe why you liked it. And you're doing, you know, that uploading and then write something about it, why you liked it. And then that gives you the different points over here. And then afterwards, you go and you read some other people's pictures. And the reason why I'm doing this exercise is because when I made the initial class and then what became the booklet series, it's really a lot about pictures. And so I spent hours and nights and mornings and whatever online Googling pictures and figuring out how can I explain this best? How can I, and then when we put the class online without making the booklets mandatory, I figured, well, I gotta teach you guys maybe how to do that yourself, because a lot of us are visual learners. Or kinesthetic, of course, but visual is as good as we get right here. And a lot of us better learn through pictures versus just words. You know, that can be very difficult for some of us. For me, it is. But anyway, that's why I put that in. So you put the initial post up. Now, this is by Sunday. So we're changing that. So this is by Sunday. And then by the following week, weekend, you will have read other people's and reply to them. And you don't have to type. You can make videos. You can, you know, make a video and say like, hey, I really like these pictures because I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And you know, don't just say agree, disagree, just, you know, be a little and playful, you know, help each other, go a little deeper than that with each other. And then if somebody gives you some thoughts and spends the time doing that, then I also want you to reply back to them and say like, hey, I read what you wrote about my initial posts. That was very nice. Thank you so much. And it's nice to meet you, something like that. And that gives you some points too. Now, the assignments give you full point value when you're aligned, when you follow the directions and they have met successfully, or you get 0 point when you need revisions. So 0 point don't mean you didn't do your job right. It's just you're not quite there yet. And then once you're there, it goes into the 10-point column or into the full point column, the aligned column. And so these are dynamic exercises. It's not just like you're handing something in and then we're done with it. So if you don't do something and then I tell you, hey, you got to make sure you give a, you know, respond to some people, or you see it because you didn't get, because I graded with the rubric, you see it, you didn't get points here. Then you know, oh, I got to respond to somebody and then I get the points here. And so it's a little bit of a back and forth, but that way it's sort of more dynamic and not just me grading stuff. So that's how the discussions work. Is that sensible? Anyone? Is anyone still here?
Yes, I understand.
I didn't lose anybody yet. Good, or maybe not too many. So when we get into week 2, the material here is under learn. We talk about chemistry. So time yourself. That's a fairly big chapter. Used to be 2 lectures. So we actually have 5 of these, but these are short, you know, as videos go. And then we have and then we have 2 longer lectures in the classroom if you'd like to watch those. Again, you don't have to watch both of those series. You can. I mean, I don't discuss the same thing in each one of them, but well, no, I do discuss the same thing, but maybe I touch it from a different angle. And some people might like one better than the other. But so you go through those. I think if you go through the videos on a phone, for example, and then on your computer or on a second device, you go through the material that is discussed on the video here and take notes, or I would screenshot this stuff, you know, I would go, or that's also if you have the booklet, you go with the booklet, the booklets go with it. Or you Google then here in this chapter, and maybe you find a picture that you really like, and then that's the picture you can upload in that assignment. But anyway, you go through that, and then after you've done that, then every chapter has these questions with it. And here, see, these are 32 questions. It's a big chapter. It's a big quiz. Or no, these are questions. They are quiz format, but you can take those over and over and over again, and the highest score will count. And you can take notes, you know, take it the first time, you take notes of the stuff you got wrong, or take notes of the stuff you got right. So it's a little dynamic of how we're learning the stuff. Basically, everything that I want you to learn as a concept has a question laid behind it, and the paragraph describing it, the question laid behind it. So you should be pretty complete. And I also have videos that I create to help you. If you don't get a question, you can go through here, or if you want to just watch a video and take some notes, and then you take the quiz after that, you could do that. I don't consider that cheating, because you're watching, you're integrating the information from a different perspective. That's why these are really questionnaires, the way I see this. By the way, whenever you see this, I don't know why they don't take this out. This is the YouTube link, but they have to get us put the videos in directly through Canvas. So it's sort of like a guideline thing. So you actually have to use the button down here to play the videos. And then here you have captions if you want, and so. Anyway, so that's that. Everything is a lecture. It's the bullet points. A lecture video is the bullet points, and then a questionnaire. And then we have these other exercises. Now here we did the images thing. I talked about that. And then we have a discussion on understanding concepts. And now I got to go through, make sure all of them are Sunday. So I'm going to change all of them. That was very good bringing that up. Thank you so much. I think that's much more sensible. And we're really not, you should have seen the summer semester. The summer semester was 5 weeks for the whole material that I had to be discussed and get through it. So it was like crazy. So anyway, but the first few chapters have a discussion on understanding things. And so I have a few questions that I put up here that I kind of want you to ponder a little more. I got 5 of them. I want you to ponder a little more on those and write something up or make a video. Again, you don't have to just type. Some people, it's hard for me to type and come up with 150 words. And I mean, I'm not that picky up and down. It's just a guideline. You just need to answer the questions. And these words are a totality for all the questions. So don't be too lengthy. Don't, just answer the question. But give me some answers. If it's too minimalistic, then I will let you know. But again, you don't have to type. You can make a video. I would probably make a video. Get used to that. All these shorts that we have these days. All right. That's that discussion. So that's one more there. And then we have one more of those discussions for the cells. And then afterwards, we're shifting gear because we're getting into, after the cells, we're getting more into the muscles and the bones. It becomes more visual, more tactile, the whole thing. The first few chapters are sort of the small stuff. And then we have also a food label analysis as a health kit exercise. And what I want to do there is sort of trying to figure out how can we bring this chemistry. It's like, chemically speaking, how does a protein look, or what is the components of it, and so forth. But what does that really mean to me or to us as people, as humans? Well, guess what? The nutrition facts on the boxes of cereals that we eat actually means that. Because in there you have fats, you have carbs, you have fiber, you have protein, sugars, you have all these kind of things, including some vitamins and some minerals. And later on in the semester, we have a chapter on nutrition. So we do go through the baseline stuff on the nutrition, and nothing, too fancy memorization wise, but something that helps you hopefully understand nutrition stuff a little bit more. A lot of you probably already do a lot of that. But what I want you to do this time here, in this exercise, I want you to go through 5 foods, and I want you to choose 1 fruit, 1 vegetable. You got to eat some of that, and look those values up on Google. And then everything else, whatever you want, that the values are on the box, most likely. Or you can Google them. You can do more fruits and vegetables. Although then I do want you to have 1 processed food you're eating as well. Actually, I got to make that clear too. Just I want you to see the differences. And then for 5 foods altogether, you go through this list and you make yourself a list and you say calories per serving per container. Now, if it's a vegetable, you see, how much weight it is. You might have to weight it this time, or usually vegetables are so much anyway, so it's not that bad. It's really good for fiber. But anyway, make sure you check all of that out. And then you've got to make sure, because if you say like, oh, I ate a box of Cheerios, and you never look at how many servings are in it, you just look at the label, and the label tells you per serving, it gives you this many calories and this many things. And you just say like, oh, I had 1 box. You don't realize that a box was 2 servings. You're writing down half of the values that you actually ate. So you got to make sure you check that out. Make sure you know how many servings per container. Anyway, and then you go through how many calories, how many fats, how many saturated trans, cholesterol, sodium. And some of the stuff is not in everything. So then, of course, you don't put it down. Not every vegetable is going to have some saturated. A vegetable will not have saturated fats in it, for example. That's the animal fat. It's going to have other fats in it potentially. But you also want to use it in grams. And I know, if it says ounces, you could put ounces, but I think it says mostly grams because of the scientific stuff. That way it's easier to calculate later on. And then percent in daily value. And they put that often on there if they do it. If they put that often on there, they say a percent in daily value is like, this is what you should, this is 18% of what you should eat in total fat per day is in one of those servings, whatever that is. So that gives you that percent of daily value. So that's an interesting indication there. So I want you to do that. And here is the discussion. And then I want you to analyze it a little bit, answer these questions. And then you can upload this stuff. And here's the rubric to see exactly what I want. And then you can upload this stuff if you start the assignment. I think I give you all kind of ways of uploading this stuff. Yeah, you could do a studio, you could do a file, you can send something, you can upload a file, so you can do it through the phone if you want to take a video and just upload the video of that. All kind of ways of doing that. Good. Any questions to this assignment? Or any comments? No? Are you still there?
Yes, but I don't have any questions or comments.
Okay, good. It's like we need a little interaction. I guess I should figure that out, how to do that. Once we get into the muscles and bones, we do more about talking about the different structures, and then it's a little easier to get around talking to each other. But to finish up this part, so this was the week, but to finish up what we're talking here is I want you to understand that soon we're gonna have some kind of a test coming up. And that's a real test. That's a test where you have one shot to add in all these questions, but it's, I forgot, I think it's 75 minutes long for 55 questions, or for, yeah, 55 questions or true, false, and multiple choice. So it should give you enough time. But and use open book, so you can use your material, but you only get one attempt. And so that's the difference between the questions that are just the questions. But you know, that's how tests are supposed to be. But what you wanted to prepare for that, you want to look at these bullet points. And so this was the introduction chapter of what I want you to really know and understand. That is going to be then checked on the tested of you on the test, on the exam. And then now we're doing the chemistry this time. So this is the chemistry one. It's a little bit more extensive. But on this list, you have everything that you need to know. So this is a good place to make flashcards, for example. Or you can print it here, click here and print it out. Let's make sure it works. Sure, I think it works. I think we did last time. And if you need to log into the 365 Microsoft thing that you can open these PDFs, you can do that on, oh, you should be able to do that here. You can do that through the school thing. You gotta look at that. But you should be able to do that through Canvas somewhere. And if you need a login for that, you can use the school login. Basically, you can probably actually log in if it gets you to that PDF, if it gets you to that OneDrive account, and you can just log in with the school login. Everybody gets an account from going to class, and so that's kind of cool. I try to have most of these things here, but sometimes it's helpful to have something you can print out as a PDF, and then that's where I have it usually. If you need me to send it to you in a different way, let me know. I can probably figure that out too. But what I often do is I often screenshot what I see and then make my own Word document with that stuff. I can also do that. That way I don't have to type everything. But I want to make sure you guys know where that is, because as you get through the material, you can prepare yourself then for the test. You can get ready for that and just organize your material. And then you're not really, you know, it's not really about memorizing if it's an open book test. But this stuff I feel is important enough that I'd rather have you have a well-organized notebook that you create of the material, or the booklets that I have if you want those, and then you use that for later reference as well. Because what we're learning in this class is sort of a baseline of anatomy and body knowledge that I feel like everybody should have for navigating through life with a body that, you know, is in gravity and things happen. And you need to know what happens, you know. Be informed is one of those classes. It's not, hopefully not too technical from that end. All right, any questions you guys have? Good, everything pretty clear?
I have a question. Have you figured out when the labs are going to be yet? Like, or any
When
forms
or
are going
where?
to be coming out about to like see who has the most availability and like what day would be best? Just curious.
Oh, if you want to come Monday or Wednesday, you mean?
Yeah, for the labs, if you figured out if Monday or Wednesday would be best. I mean, either is fine. It's just, I just wanted to see just to make sure, like, so I have it down on my calendar if there is a set date, if anything.
Yeah. It seems from my first read, from what I get as feedback, a lot of people are interested.
Mhm.
And so I will send something out. I will send a text out and just get some read for it. But I have a feeling we're doing both.
Okay.
You know, just yeah, I'll send out. Thank you for bringing that up, because it's so far away. It's not far away, but it's so far away from all the other little
I just wanted to be
details.
prepared. Yeah.
I know, I really appreciate it. And so I will send out a text question in terms of which lab do you prefer, plan common lab, which lab you prefer, and then I can create sort of a format for that. Also, you know,
Okay.
that does bring me to the other thing that I do want to touch on before we close. Is I'm thinking potentially of doing some like review stuff time on Thursday on Zoom. The people that sort of I got back from, it seems like Thursday seems to be a fairly common day or evening. Is that sound pretty feasible? Do something Thursday for most of you guys, or
Are you talking about for lab?
no, no, this is not in person. This is the study group stuff, the study questions, the embedded tutor, where I'm also part of, to help with, and you know, go into detail with questions of the material. So I'm trying to find the day where I got a sort of a set times, and I'm thinking we do definitely something after the Zoom on Monday, where we can stick around and have Q&A time.
Can it be like in the morning or something? Because like my work schedule, I work a lot in the afternoon, and like it would, like me personally, it would have to be like morning, because I work in the afternoon.
Right. Well, the other thing is this. I mean, we are thinking of doing one session during a daytime, like a noonish time-ish, and then one in the evening time. And that wouldn't be the morning. But having said that, those are just sort of the fixed time. I'm also available to have you guys, you know, I can be reached other times as well. So, Destiny, if that doesn't work for you, for example, you have a question, we want to, you know, meet offline to discuss it because it helps you understand the material more or whatever, we do a little tutoring on that, I can always do that as well. All right. So it's not just to those set times. It's just with having an embedded tutor situation, we will have some set times that you guys can log in and make appointments, and you know, come in person and have a one-on-one session.
Okay.
Okay. I also to always because you know it's harder. It's not that easy to figure out study groups. And so if you're interested in study groups, also text me, reach out to me. This semester we're trying to do this embedded tutor situation. We'll see how that goes. Last semester we tried to do study groups. It was a little draggy. It didn't really work out because it's just online. It's not the same energy. But I do want to make sure before we close out that you are aware of, under the home button on the bottom, this here is a link that gets you to a room that's always open for you guys to meet up and share your own screens with each other and talk about the material and so forth. It's always there. It's 24/7 open. Or we can also meet up there. I can be in there as well. We can make a study group as well. And if you have questions, I can, you know, meet you there and we can work together a little bit as well. That way it's as seamless as possible. And of course, then this semester we'll meet in person as well in the classroom, some of us, and I'm sure that'll give us opportunities to do that as well.
Okay, one more thing. I don't know if, like, in case you like forgot, can you like text my other number instead of the 415 number, because I don't really use that phone.
Yeah, I just wrote it down in the beginning of our session. that way I'll make that your primary. I haven't changed it yet. I do that after we hang up.
Okay.
I got you there, that Destiny. Cool. All right. What else is there? We did the health kit. I want to do these groups. Want to hear from you guys. Be involved. And well, we keep moving. And I'm going to ask that question about the lab. That way we can sort of get you guys organized as well. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a question, also another question about the labs. Is it like going to be like one lab per week? So like on Monday and Wednesday, you would do the same lab for that week, or is it a different lab every day?
No, it's going to be the same it's going to be the same each day. It's going to be like you either want to come on Monday or you want to come on Wednesday.
Okay. Would there be like an option?
Huh?
Would there be an option like if we wanted to come to both just for like extra practice, or like, I don't know, just to do it again?
I was gonna say, the problem with that is just the COVID stuff. It's just the COVIDness. So if I do have 28 students in each class, then it might be a bit more of a challenge, but we can keep talking about that. It might be not a problem at all, because it is definitely a great opportunity to have these models and, be kinesthetic with everything, and also dissections. But we also have, hopefully the cadavers will work. It seems like everything is there. So we also have cadavers to be able to visualize things with. And so we do have a little bit more room to have a little bit more students in case. So I think we can work it out.
Okay, yeah. Because I mean, I don't know about other people's availability, but I know I'm gonna make time for like to come to both if I can, because just for extra work, since most of it is virtual, so it's kind of hard to remember everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think we should be okay. I mean, Mary has a strict masking mandate still, so I feel good with that. I have 9-year-old patients, so I want to be fairly strict about that. But other than that, I think that should make everybody feel comfortable, because it is remarkable how cool we have it, and we often don't realize that we actually have cadavers, and we and we have one professor who has a class that they dissect the cadaver, and it's a self-pay class. And then we have the luxury to we don't dissect the cadavers, but we can view them, and we can touch the tissue, feel it, and that's very, very helpful in the learning process. And so I think if you can take advantage of that, I definitely encourage you to do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else has some question? No? Well, I think we can close it out then. And if you do,
I want to ask what time, like the days of the lab is Monday and Wednesday, but what time, like what's the actual time of the lab? Is it like morning? Is it afternoon?
No, the labs are in the evening from 6 to 8ish.
Oh, okay.
6 to 8:45, but they're optional. They're not mandatory. All right. You don't have to come to pass the class. There is 2 reasons that the labs are, well, for once, we want to get sort of back in the classroom. This is material that is better to be learned when it's touching, feeling it. And so we do want to have stuff in the lab. But the other thing is, so there is that increased learning. The dissections do give you a little bit of extra credit. I make it an extra credit because I think the learning is really the best benefit, to feel the different tissues. Because if you work as a nurse later on or so, and you feel it through the skin, and you have to sort of visualize what you're touching and what's going on, is really helpful to actually feel that on a cadaver at first. And not every place you're going to be able to do that on a physical body. But many places these days, we're going more virtual. And so we still have texture. Like at Merced, where I teach, which is really cool, they have anatomy computers with cadaver computers, where they actually, they have computers where they dissect, but it's 2-dimensional. And they can, it's more about words. It's a visual grade thing, but it's not a tactile grade thing that way. And the cadavers are really something that we have uniquely to take advantage of, that we have that, as long as we treat them nice. Where was that question going? Destiny. That was Destiny, right? What time? But it's not obligatory. It is if you want to transfer to UC Berkeley, or you want to do something like a degree that requires you to have physical labs, then you
Yeah,
have.
because I was trying to get my ADN, and then they said like a 4-year transfer, so I would need to do the lab for that, or is it still like not mandatory?
You should probably. It's not mandatory for the class. It's not mandatory for me to pass you in the class, but you want to check with each other also from the students' discussions, because everything is not quite written in stone right now with COVID's changes. Everything
No,
is.
I'm pretty sure if you want to do, because that ADN is a nursing program, so I'm pretty sure you do need your physical lab kind of, you do need the physical lab portion of this class to kind of use it to make it eligible to transfer. Because for if you're just taking the class for like a regular prerequisite, then it would be fine if you don't do the labs. But for it to transfer, because unless if you're doing the program here, then you would need, for sure, because for basically all nursing programs, you would need the physical lab requirements to have it eligible to transfer over.
JD, do you need it because you guys also got to do bio too, right? For the nurse.
Yeah, but no, because I want to transfer into a 4-year for my BS, but I'm opting not to do an AA degree at Merit. But you still need the physical lab requirements. You always need, it's always like it's always anatomy with lab. It has to have the lab with it, be able to kind of fulfill that requirement. If you don't, then it doesn't. Then you would have to probably take it again if you don't have the time, or yeah.
And are you going to take bio 2 at Merit, or you transfer out before you take that?
With my I don't know how your study plan is though.
No, you, JD. Are you planning?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm planning on taking I'm planning on taking bio 2 here. Yeah.
Here, and then so you both classes, you need to have a practical component in order to be able to transfer out to the. Okay, so there you go, Destiny. So you just have to, because those are harder for me to. It's dynamic right now, but I think the general understanding is that the nursing stuff needs practical labs, and it seems like you have that sense too, right, JD?
Yeah, I think I'm like pretty sure, because I already talked to like some like transfer people at different universities, that you do need the physical portion of the lab for it to be like fulfilling that requirement, just because they want you to have that feel and that kind of experience with the physical body. Because it's not just like, like you can learn only so much from the notes and the virtual videos or something. So yeah.
No,
I probably wouldn't be able to come like every week to labs because of how my work schedule is.
Yeah,
but you said it's like Monday and Wednesday, right?
Monday or Wednesday.
Yeah, I would be able to make it to the Monday ones, but not the Wednesday ones, because I work Wednesday to Sunday.
Yeah, then you're fine. And you make sure everybody, please. I actually almost had some people go to the lab on the first week, and I'm like, oh shoot. Somebody texted me, and I'm like, I'm just new to this. Like, we're going back to class in person. What's that all about? Energy. It's so comfortable at home or in front of my flower bed here. But these are the times so you go to syllabus and then course outline. That's the second thing here. And you see where we go to lab, optional in-person lab. Once we get to the skulls. So once we hit 9-12, we're starting to hit the lab, the personal stuff a little bit. Before that, don't go to lab. And then we go through the week of the 10th and the 12th, the 2nd October week. And then we're having a few weeks where we don't go, and then we go in for dissections a few more times. Okay, and that's what mainly when we go there, we learn the kinesthetic parts, the health kits and all that other stuff. You can do that at home. and we discuss that, but we really do focus on the tactile components of anatomy and physiology and learn mostly that when we go to lab. Okay. Good. All right. So I think that's going to be okay, and I think it's going to work out for you too, Destiny. Anybody else have any questions or concerns? If not, we can close it out. And I wish you guys a wonderful week. Good. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a good
Bye.
Bye. I'm here afterwards if you want to check in.